Atlanta Falcons Nation and Atlanta Falcons family. Welcome to the Scottish Falcons. This is our Wednesday show, and we've got a brilliant topic. We'll be talking tonight about the quarterback season 2 show, which includes obviously our QB, Kirk Cousins. But before we look at all that and talk about that, Will, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. As you know, your boy Will the Thrill's always kind of plugging away in the news. So, seeing what's happening, kind of trying to keep put on base. So, the problem for me tonight for tonight's show is I had too much to say. Trying to distill 8 pages of notes. But just kind of that's something we can get into just as people get in the building. What's up, Cam? Thank you for being on as always. But yeah, as Des says, Scottish Falcons back for episode 4, and tonight it's all about these guys, shall we say, because it's a season of 2 halves. It's a man for all seasons. We have Kirk Cousins, aka Lil Kirko Chains, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to split the quarterback season 2 performance in 2 halves and break that down a little bit for you. But just before we do, if you do want the chance to join us, as I say, we are the Scottish Falcons, but we are also the flagship show of Atlanta Falcons Nation LLC International's wing. So hopefully we'll be getting chats soon from all over the world, where we come together on a Saturday for our big special shows. As I say, so if you want to be involved, hit up Des, hit up myself, hit up Maggie if you're stateside, and let's make something happen. As I say, you guys are T-minus 5 hours, but this is a worldwide grind, so let's make it happen for the coming season. So let's
just remember, guys, when you're watching this show, I've done a full day's work. I've literally done a 12-hour shift. If anybody keeps on watching these videos and think that guy's hair always looks wet, well, it's because I'm literally coming in the door, having a shower, grabbing something quickly to eat, and then we're on this show. That is dedication.
Yeah. And again, with the time difference as well, Maggie and Des will tell you behind the curtain sometimes they have to be like almost mum and dad to me and be like, no, you need to go out and get some sleep because your boy is not afraid to grind for the brand, as you all have seen and know, and will continue to prove, especially with training camp rolling in, because it's a little mini celebration this week because it is the last week where we reside in the dead zone.
Yes, no more dead zone.
The snaps will start to count, and I can't wait because we've been talking trash about these guys for so many weeks, it seems. So it will be good to just finally blow off some steam and get those pads a cracking again.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we do any of that, let's start to break down quarterback season 2. So how did you feel about it? First of all, we'll start just generally, Des, and then we can kind of break it down, as I say, the season in 2 halves, if you will. The 2 sides of the coin, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So how do you feel, sir?
I mean, I remember I was on a NFC South podcast before the season, and I said that with everything that was happening with Kirk Cousins, we had just signed him, and my thoughts were the floor was going to be 10-7.
Mm-hmm.
And I had actually said that we would go 12-5 when I actually looked at the schedule. As I said earlier, the Atlanta Falcons like to tease you, but they tease you big. I mean, you get to 6-3. I would love if there was a statistician out there and they just come across this podcast, and I'm pretty sure they will. What is this? There must statistically, how many teams have went 6-3 and then not hit the playoff and not even had a winning record? I mean,
I'm sure that would be some interesting reading. It would be a short article, I tell you that. because there ain't many teams that have fell off to that extent.
I can't remember seeing anybody sitting at 6-3, and then effectively Kirk Cousins goes out against Tampa Bay and has the game of his life. 36-year-old, and he has a game of his life, and then bang, next game, it literally the second part of the season kicks in, and it's all downhill. And again, that's just an Atlanta Falcons thing. That's just they just want to tease you with probably one of the best. I mean, in the time I watched it, when what was it? Kadero Hodge, when he grabbed that ball and headed for the end zone. I mean, bearing in mind this was one of the primetime games, so this was on for me. This was probably about 3:30 in the morning. And when he done that, took that in for a touchdown, I went crazy. It was just a fantastic game. And then you're looking at it, the swag stuff comes out, and I mean, you just think to yourself, this guy is everything that we've been waiting for. We've had Taylor Heineke, Desmond Ridder, Marcus Mariota. And then we go from there to capitulation, quite literally capitulation. So Ricky, how you doing? What's happening, mate? Appreciate you're always on the show when we're live. So really appreciate
your side of the pond, brother.
Yeah, really appreciate your support.
Lady Bird's in the house too. Rise up, Christy. Or we always rise up. We like to keep your drive time full of entertainment. Keep it rolling. As I say, we are just taking to the wing for the first sort of season, and what a year to do it. Year 60 for the Falcons, man. But I feel like, as I say, to kind of start with where we were talking earlier on in the back, before the slump, before the injury really set off, as we touched upon on the Ladybird show last night as well, the guy knew he wasn't coming in at 100%. The Achilles was some sort of way where he couldn't even get a massage without wincing and pulling back. But mindset-wise, he was there. Some of the things he said, to quote, where we looked like we'd played together for years. Also, things of the nature of he didn't want to leave Minnesota. But then again, we almost expected too much of him because, for instance, in the Pittsburgh game, you see how convoluted the play calling is. And for a 36-year-old man coming off an ACL, it's not great. But then again, he's got an attitude where he can get behind him because he will take personal accountability for something that's maybe not entirely his fault. So at least for the first half, before the selfishness kicks in, the pig-headedness of, and you can put this down to coaching as well, which we'll get into, because I really feel for myself that you could have made the switch for Penix week 12. I feel like if we had, maybe, well, we'd probably have been a playoff team. I mean, in those 3 games, Penix showed enough to warrant a longer stretch, I feel.
I mean, well, you touched on something. I mean, I remember at the time when it was signed, and everybody said that this was his wife. His wife wanted to come back to Atlanta because that's where, I mean, obviously his son's named after Ted Turner. You know what I mean? You can't get any more Atlanta than that. So
100%.
Effectively, we're all saying this is his wife. His wife wanted to come to Atlanta. You then watch this program, and I'll actually, what I've wrote is, he went back to Minnesota and told them that he had a longer commitment. He'd been offered a longer commitment, and Minnesota and asked them to increase their time, and Minnesota said no, we're good. Now I think at the time, there was a lot of rumors going about that it was 2 years, 97 million or 95 million. And he wanted a longer commitment, and obviously Atlanta come in with the 4 years, 180 million, which really is 2 years with a get out deal at the end of that. But when you look at what was happening when he was signed in the Twitter, X, the media in Atlanta, they were all saying that he chose to come here. Well, he chose to come here because he was getting a better deal. And I think there's a bit in the show where Julie, his wife, said that they were really, really sad leaving Minnesota. What I would say is, I think, shout out to Omaha Productions, which is obviously Peyton Manning's company. The one thing I would say is that whatever you think these players, the one thing you do see is they're human. Everybody talks about how Kirk Cousins has made $300 million and how he's got the best agent in the world. But when everything was happening, when the chat was about he was going to get benched, you need to feel for him. And from my point of view, you look at the wives and the kids and the families, and this goes further than just Kirk Cousins. When it's like training camp and you see some tweet coming out from Atlanta Falcons that this player's been released, I mean, it's literally, it's gone, it's out and it's gone. And we need to understand this is people's lives. This is guys whose parents have drove 800 miles to go to a high school to watch them play. And then literally just like that, they've had a shot and it's gone forever. So from my point of view, shout out to all these families, all these people that dedicate themselves from, again, I call it high school, kindergarten, high school, college football, because statistically, very little of these players will ever make it to the NFL. And then when you do get into the NFL, you've got all that emotion to live with as well. Will I get released? Am I good enough for the team? Will I make the 53-man squad? Will I make? Will they keep me in the practice squad? Will I get released? Will somebody else take me on? I mean, the roller coaster and of emotion that these players must go through, I feel for them. And although we were looking at the cream of the crop and Joe Burrows and Jared Goff, effectively, when you look at it, it doesn't matter how much money they made.
No,
they still take the hits. They still get back up. The way to look at it is they're the most targeted sportsmen in sport. Everybody, nobody's walking out watching Djokovic or any of the tennis players and going, right, I'm going to get you the day. I'm going to smack you and really, really, it's my day for me to smack you, except a quarterback. And they get hit, they get back up. So hats off to them. As I 100%. Say, we'll have our opinion about how they're playing, but we're fans. We love this team. We want to. There's no Atlanta Falcons fan that didn't want Kirk Cousins to come into this team and win the Super Bowl.
No, 100%. And speaking of loyalty and throwing your hat in, just another shout out to some of these chats here. Shout out to Mr. White Network, aka OG Sam, one of the OG fans of the channel. Bernard or Bernard, depending on what side of the pond you're on. Thank you so much. And also the Unholy Alliance, Mad Mike and the boys. Thank you all so much for your support as always. As I say, we'll open the table again on Saturday. So if you want to jump on and talk with the boys, as I say, you're more than welcome. Same for the rest of the AFN guys. Continue to show love and support for the Scottish contingent, the Kilted Birds. We're going to keep the content coming, as I say, 3 a week. It's a lot to strive for, but I think we can handle it. We're big boys, as we often say. And to quote Kirk again, we're doing it the way it's supposed to be done. or adversity breeds character again, and you never have to tell, to quote his wife again, you never have to tell Kirk to work harder or to focus. And I feel that's something we can all aspire to as a channel as well. So yeah, I feel like, just to kind of sum up some of my feelings from the first half of the season, like, he tries to use his money, his position, his fame to kind of give back to the city. But I feel like he needs to get on board the wagon, so to speak, now that MPJ is the guy as well. Like that, I feel like that's been the whole thing, as I said on Ladybirds last night as well, about the transition in terms of quarterback. So we've got the Vic to Ryan to Penix. We've got that nice narrative now in place, and I feel like it's more than just, oh no, here you go, kid. You can learn from what my experience in the league has been. I feel like on a city level, a citywide level, and as a fan base, it's more about, we should get together, get behind these guys. Look back, that's fantastic, but also look forward, because this is MPJ's team now, and this is a different Falcons than either Mike Vick or Matt Ryan were at the helm of. So just to kind of have a look at that, and then also in terms of his prep as well, the way Kirk would prep for a game, he was very. You've seen those notebooks. As I say, I can kind of attest, being a goofy ass white boy myself, to the 8 pages of notes here for a 2-hour show. Mm-hmm. So I kind of get where Kirk's coming from there. It's good to be detail orientated, especially as a quarterback, because the game is so nuanced now. There's so many different defenses, packages, as you see, audibles, cadences, the play, as you see, not just from Kirk's perspective, but the scene where Jared Goff's sitting with his misses, breaking down some of the plays, and he's like, give me a nice long one, and you're like, you'd come out the huddle and you'd be like, right, okay, what was that again? So on some cases, like, they're really, really involved plays, and things like that. So I mean, like, fair play to him for kind of trying to push with that, regardless as well. So,
and again, when he first comes into the team, when he first comes in, Kirk Cousins, you can see that he's struggling with the playbook, and he's struggling with the movement. You hear him talking about how there's a lot of movement, and I think, does he say a McVay kind of scheme? But obviously he's saying that Zach Robinson wants a lot of movement.
Yeah.
You then see obviously the fumble against Pittsburgh, where I think messy. Now again, when I watched that, I thought it was a tight end that had made a mistake. But when you then watch the show, Kirk Cousins comes out and said it was me. He actually asked them to move at the wrong time. So,
and that's the thing. His check was out of time as well, if you watch. And this is the thing, because having played the game a little as I have, this is where I can kind of teach some of the younger guys, or the guys who don't know the X's and O's. The fault was Kirk's, because what it was supposed to be was essentially an end around, but his kill came out of time, so the running back's already in motion. The snaps went awry. He's not had the time to then adjust, and his kills came out of time. So when he's checked that down to change the play, the running back's already in motion. Clock's running down, so you've got to get that ball off as well. So I think it was just a comedy of errors. I think the play call was too convoluted. I think double motion was not what we needed in that situation. Given look at the way that play was defended. They stacked the right-hand side, so they knew we were going to run that way with Bijan, because he wasn't going to throw. What was it? I think it was third and 14, third and 16. So you weren't going to trust Kirk's arm on that. We were going to take the yards and go from there, kind of thing. It was how I felt. So yeah, like, play calling needs to be better. The consistency, I feel like we've got the offensive line sewed up now, which I am immensely glad at, because we want these guys up front that are maulers every week, that are consistent, where MPJ can go, I know my guys, I trust my guys. And that's what I was going to say as well, back to what to quote Kirk again, just as he says about to be a team, to look like a team. How long does it take to look like you've played together for years? And I feel like I loved the fact that MPJ was getting out with Penix and Drake and with Bijan, with Drake, with Kyle and with Mooney, going to Dubai, running around in the sand, getting that work in, because it's not just great resistance work, but it's building that camaraderie and that culture that we want.
I remember as well when Kirk Cousins came in. I think there was a thing where he took all the offensive players down to John Gruden, and effectively had a day down at his. He's like got a studio, or he calls it something like the Association of Sacked or Fired Head Coaches or something. And he took them down there. So I mean, I don't fault Kirk Cousins for a lot of the stuff that happens. From my point of view, and when you look at the guy as a person, I think he lives in his own head quite a lot. I think he overthinks a lot. I think. I'm quite an overthinker, so like I'll have a conversation with somebody, and then the next day, so I'll go home and like even the podcasts, these podcasts I play in my head when I'm talking about things, and I'll then effectively analyze it as I've left. So effectively in an hour or two, when it's probably like 11:30 here, when I'm trying to get to sleep, I'm analysing things in my head about this podcast and what I should have said right and things I've done wrong and things like that. And it's a good thing because it allows you to focus on anything that's not working right. Then you can put it right. But the other thing as well, it's a hard state mind. It's a hard state of mind to constantly be in, that you're always analysing things, and you see him obviously having the message with Raheem Morris saying that he didn't think he was playing well enough, and he was asking Raheem Morris. He had a meeting with Raheem Morris, and he was asking Raheem Morris, "What are you seeing?"
Yeah.
So that's him in his own head. That's him analysing things, and he's looking at what he's playing and what he's doing, and in his head he's analysing and thinking it's not good enough. Whereas most of it would have been fine. But that's the one thing watching it. And to be honest, I didn't see that the first season. With Kirk Cousins when he was at Minnesota, I didn't see that same overthinker or the guy that was in his own head. So it was maybe the fact that he'd come out of a place where he was settled and he had stability, and he was then took into a place that was new to him. Obviously, he knows Atlanta, but the stability wasn't there. It's new, and
also to back that up as well, and to kind of shout out the Unholy Alliance boys again. It's a very good point there that double motion isn't as effective when you're mobile, when your QB is not as mobile. But as I say, that's a play, that's a coaching error. If your play calling does not excel to the strengths of the personnel that are on that field, that's a coaching issue. If you can't manage the clock despite having someone who has consistently proven that they can run a 2-minute offense and can drive down the field because they still have some juice in that arm. Yeah, they've had some bangs along the way, but they can still get the ball down the field. But if you've not got that mobility and you're trying to mix this up, and you've got a QB who, as you say, doesn't have that confidence because he's just come across to a new city, a new culture, a new offense, new coaches, he's having to adjust. Then you throw in the sort of elephant in the room, if you will, of the fact we take MPJ that same off season. So now he's like, oh, okay, so now you pay me 180 million. Now you go get this kid. I understand I'm 36, but what I feel like is his thought process was flawed there. Because he almost didn't show the understanding and self-awareness to say, okay, I'm 36 years old. The future's bigger than just I, so I need to be invested in the next chapter as well. And that's where I feel like we can separate the Kirk Cousins of the world from guys like Aaron Rodgers. Going back, there's a few examples I could name, like Brett Favre tried to do at the end of his career. The way Peyton Manning tried to do for the guys coming up after him in Denver and things like Drew Lock and things of this nature, to be that big time mentor, so to speak. But he almost didn't do that when he had the chance to do it.
But as Southside Ricky says, Kirk's arm gave out and he didn't know how to deal with it. But the issue from my point of view, Southside Ricky, is how much it was the injury that he got against the Aints. I mean, from my point of view, if after the Aints game, I think we went 6-4 at that point. After the Aints game, if he'd have benched himself, if he'd have went to Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson and said, I've got a bit of injury, I think I have to step back, try and go away, Michael Penix Jr. and see what happens. If he'd have done that, and by chance the Atlanta Falcons had moved on from him this season in free agency, he would have been one of the top quarterbacks to go for, because he'd just come off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game where he had the record 509 passing yards. Obviously, the Aints, any Aints game can go anywhere. That's why there's such rivalry.
Division week.
But it was a fact. But it was a fact that everybody was watching what he was doing and saying, "Is this him? Is it finally ended for Kirk Cousins?" If he'd have benched himself and it had come out in the media that he had had an injury, then even if Michael Penix Jr. had have took over the slot, and again that's a if. You know what I mean? If Michael Penix Jr. had taken over the slot this season, he would have been probably number one free agent. And places like Cleveland Brown would have been after him. What then happened is they watched how he played and thought to themselves, "This guy's he's done. He's arm shot." And that stopped. I'm sorry. I know he's got a no trade clause, but he did come out and say that he wanted to move to a place where he would be playing. He would be effectively the main quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, effectively, there wasn't a lot of spots, but I guarantee you, if he'd have benched himself after the Aints game, and Michael Penix Jr. had have been as good as we've seen in these 3 games, and he didn't get his spot back, there would have been general managers out there effectively kicking the door down.
Oh yes,
a flowery branch to sign Kirk Cousins. So
it's how do you want to chop it? Because as to back up with a little bit more here from Southside Ricky, and he makes a good point, very good point there. So if Kirk took a couple of weeks off, got the arm right, there's no doubt we make the playoffs. Penix 500 if he plays 4 games until Kirk gets his arm right. Well, I feel like it could have even been more than 4. As I say, I'd have made the switch week 12. He got hurt week 11. So when his arm started to look like it was shot, when you seen him throwing more with the rib and more with the hip, with no drive, no pop on those passes, and more importantly, no touch. Because as we've seen him throw through as the arm started to hurt, we've seen him throw 30-yard passes that would only go 24 and things of this nature. So to get his arm right, I would have been quite happy to go, look, this is still your team. You have helped to build this culture here. We swag, we surf, we walk in your trap, we take over your trap, all of this, all these sort of epithets and things like that. It's like, right, okay, that's cool, embrace the culture, but also be man enough to admit, because he's man enough to admit where he's wrong, where he's messed up. So admit that you've messed up and said that you were ready to go when you physically were not capable of matching our expectations of you, especially when you're coming out here and throwing for consistently 350, 400, maybe 3-4 touchdowns a game because you've got an offense like that around you. But I just feel like no, there was no call for pig-headedness. I understand that if I'm just being selfish, but if you're talking about money and that's what, as I say, to bring up what Cam Newton had to say, I kind of see both sides of the coin there because the guy's agent is probably a bigger baller than Kirk is himself. To be fair, he's fleeced some GMs in the past, evidently. Career earnings $386 million and counting.
But well, you need to understand there has to be another side to this.
Mm-hmm.
His agent can try and get as many deals as possible, but there has to be a team there to give him these deals.
Yeah, true. And I mean, the market has been there. To be fair, it's a tough time to be a quarterback, given how much the front sevens and the blitz packages are changing. They are bringing heat now in the league like they've never have before. Over these last sort of 5 years, since the emergence of guys like your TJ Watt and guys like this, your Myles Garrett, DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons. I could go on. These truly game-changing, fast, strong Max Crosby, these fast, strong, dynamic edge rushers and things like that. So it's a tough time to be a quarterback. So we understand that, and having a good backup is a serviceable option. So if slice it any kind of way, we need to look at the realistic possibility that Michael Penix is going to get smacked. If he does get smacked, there is a possibility that he is not going to get up. If he doesn't get up, what position would we be in with either Emery Jones or Easton Stick? All due respect to both those men, but I don't see the level of consistency where I would put my trust in them if MPJ goes down.
But the other way to look at it as well, Will, and again, I know
100%.
Yeah.
Don't trust the agents.
Absolutely. We've got Pam in the house as well, so again, shout out
Pam.
to
Lady Pam's represent.
Always here supporting
That was a great show. As I say, we are kind of trying to run with what the example that the ladies are setting. So a little bit about what's going on behind the curtain. So we've got a few big special guests lined up. So what we're trying to do is sort of share with you a little bit. This is not just the home of Scottish Falcons. This is also where you guys come to, eat a little digital haggis. Get your wee fix, your wee drama Scottish culture. And so we will be having a few Scottish legends associated with the game, talk a little bit more with you all about sort of the game as we see it, as it's played over here in the UK. In some cases, the strive it takes to get all the way to the States. I'll say no more than that, but there are some names in the pipeline. But as I said with the Ladybirds show last night, we're also reaching out to the super fans. So if you're a season ticket holder, this is what Des has been trying to say over the last few episodes, and myself as well. The season ticket holders are where we need to give all love and push as hard as we can, because that travelling section and that corner of the stadium is just such a phenomenal group of fans that are so dedicated. And as Karina said last night, shout out to Miss Karina. Thanks again for coming on and being part of the Ladybirds last night. As she says, she does not leave that seat in the stadium until the clock reads 0.00. And that's what you said, Des. What are we lacking in? Is the whole city whipping round and going, no, do you know what? Yeah, we're down by 20 points, but these guys are going to need to pick themselves up. But if we come together as a culture to help them do that, as a city, as a stadium to help them do that, if we can still stand there, if they can get 40 points dropped on them, or if they can play coverage as woefully as we did in, say, Denver or LA last year, and we'll get into the second half of the season.
Well,
but yeah,
the one
then,
thing
as I
the
say,
one thing they'll hear from us, well, is our honesty. The other thing that I'm going to start challenging as well is all the garbage that gets put out there about Atlanta Falcons. So I watch all the videos. I'm not in America, so I don't have any issue with upsetting people. I'm going to be the one that effectively, or we're going to be the ones that effectively challenge what's getting said. We're going to be doing something on Saturday. We're going to be talking about one particular thing. As I said before, the disrespect in the media alone. When you see Jesse Bates, who's probably the number one safety in the NFL, appearing at number 92 in the top 100 players. There's enough disrespect out there in the mainstream media and the mainstream sports media without the Falcons and the fans all fighting against each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you see it on Twitter and X all the time.
And
but
let's be 100. And let's be 100 for the younger guys. For the guys who are maybe not as clued up as they are in how the media circus works. At the same time, they're still trying to get clicks. So not all of these opinions are even based on fact. Sometimes they're going to come out and say things just to stir the pot a little bit, just to make you feel some kind of way. As I say, to back up Southside Ricky's point and all, guys like Cam Newton, they are paid to be sportscasters, to be that devil's advocate. And that's why we try to be that kind of buffer as well, to kind of be that realistic side of the fandom and say, no, we are diehard fans. We're heart and soul is this team. But at the same time, we can be realistic enough to say, no, it is a business at the end of the day. And it's going to be treated as such as well. So, as I say,
we've nothing to gain from this, mate. We're coming on to a podcast and we're sharing our honest opinion. And if that upsets people in America and the sports media, I don't really care. I'm here for the Falcons, not to make friends. And we'll start to call out things. So there will be times in the show where we'll talk about certain videos that I've maybe seen on YouTube or you've maybe seen that, and then start calling out the people that are saying things about the Falcons, because somebody has to do it. It seems to be that.
You heard it here first. Let the claymores be unsheathed. Let the claymores be unsheathed.
Listen, the one thing I would say is, if you're ever in a street and you hear somebody in Scottish accent shouting, don't approach them, because we can be fiery. That's why most of the redheads come from Scotland, because red people with red hair tend to be fiery. You know what I mean? And the way I look at it is, I'm passionate about my team, and I just see a lot of garbage that's getting posted. Very, very weak journalism as well. It's just that they're effectively picking a narrative and go, right, we'll go with that.
And speaking of angering some people as well while you're going on,
but again,
pick a narrative.
But again, you look at the uproar around Michael Penix Jr. getting picked now. Effectively, if Michael Penix Jr. wasn't picked at number 8 in the draft, if you look at the quarterbacks we were going to have to pick this year, I mean, we're literally at a point where the Aints had to pick Tyler Shock, which I think was third. But again, the derision that pick brought was universal. It was universal. Why have you just signed Kirk Cousins to a $180 million contract and you're signing this guy? This guy, he's 24. He's going to be 28, 29 before he plays his first game. When you then look back at the 2023 season, when 66 quarterbacks played in a season, you know what I mean? At some point, the garbage that's through against Atlanta Falcons, and you then think, if this was the Pittsburgh Steelers that done this, they'd have been getting clapped. Brilliant, great decision. And you see things that happen with other teams that if the Atlanta Falcons or when the Atlanta Falcons done that, there was derision, there was negativity, there was just a whole load of nonsense. And then another team does it because their class is the stylish team.
Yeah.
They do it, and it's plaudits. General manager, phenomenal. He's amazing. And I've
be a D- to a B+. It's like, why? Because it's not in Atlanta. We see the bias, and that's what I'm saying. Like, we're going to start coming for the people who are going to come for us, especially if you're going to be cloak and dagger. Don't bring a dagger to a sword fight. That's all I will say, because we're going to start bringing some real opinions. I feel like, as I say, there's a lot in this franchise that needs to be addressed. The play calling has been spotty at best. The clock management has been woeful in places. I'm glad we shored up that secondary because I've mentioned it earlier on, but let's not trigger me again by bringing up the coverage, the style of coverage we were playing with our corners in LA and Denver. 12 yards off, and it's like even a rookie Bo Nix can dot us up all day with comebacks, with 5-yard crossers, with 5-yard in, 5-yard out, because you are playing 8 to 12 yards off the line. There is no push to see that man's hips open up, even though you can see it from a distance. By the time you're then adjusting and coming forward, he's already got the ball in his hands. And he can start to make moves and things like this. And both LA and Denver, to their credit, have some decent receivers. So we need to change the scheme. We need to think. We need to think. We just need to take a minute and breathe and remember what we can do.
I'll tell you one thing. Sean Payton.
No, you were right the first time. Right the first time.
See if we had went 1-16 and bet the Broncos, I would have been happy. I mean, I don't hate anybody, but that man, I've got 3 hates. There's the Goat Man, the Aints, and that moron.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's Sean Hayton, because I do the choke, the whole choke thing. He's probably the reason why I support Atlanta Falcons with so much passion. I looked at that man and what he done with Atlanta Falcons, and I thought to myself, I want to support the team that you hate because the way the way he goes about himself, there's just something not right. I just
the most like slimy, disingenuous man. Like, it's not like, if even taking the sense out of the equation, just look at him. Look at him. I'm sorry, but he is the type of person where if he came to me and said the sky is blue, well, I would go, it looks more grey to me, Sean.
Nah, well,
and not just saying that for Scotland.
Well, in Scotland, it tends to be grey, you know what I mean?
Well, so. Aye. Well, let's just say hypothetically that he catches me on one of the 3 days of summer we get then. I still wouldn't tell him the sky was blue. I hate the man.
Listen, see, to be honest, mate, like I don't get violent, but I mean, if he stood in front of me and told me the sky was blue, the words that come out of my mouth wouldn't have been for the viewers. Honestly,
no.
And again, what I would say about everybody watching in Atlanta and international, the hatred we've got for these guys are just as much as if we're in Atlanta.
And you're talking about hate. That's beautiful there. The tight capri pants Raheem wears. I love this, Ricky. Take away for his brain function. He's cutting something off. Get that man a kilt.
Aye.
Let them boys breathe. You know what I'm saying? Wind in the willows.
Absolutely. So if there's one team, the Aints, you always know that they can go any way. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You literally can go against a 1-15 last game of the season that could be a 1-15 Aints team and they could beat you. That's just the way things are. That's the way rivalry is. But when we went against Sean Hayton, it was a case of we need to win this game, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah. There was no kind of get up and go. There was no will for the amount of build up that we had earlier on in the season.
Pardon the pun, mate. Yeah, no.
I am here now. I'm sorry. I was late. I wasn't there that day. I fell asleep. No, but all joking aside, it was not by all accounts the day. Shout out there to Engine number 9 MPJ. What it do, baby boy? Rise up AFN International. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go, Dirty Birds.
Rise up.
Thank you so much for your support. 2025 is going to be a big year, not just for the team, but for the channel as well. We have a lot coming. As I say, this is just the first of many international teams. So shout out to the guys over in Mexico. I've been in their DMs too, and I have basically proposed that they come on Saturday for a chat as well. So let me see some red. I always say red, white, red, and black. So this will be an interesting one. Let me see some red, white, and green in the chat if you want us to bring on those boys from Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's keep this thing moving. Let's keep this thing growing. But as I say, I think we've burned the bridges we wanted to burn in terms of old Kirko. But now I'm going to be a little bit more general. So taking what he said out of the equation, the dramas, the memes, the gold chains and the diamond grails, if you will, out of the equation.
That was woeful, mate. That was.
It was what it was. But nah, in all seriousness, yeah, are you still happy to have Kirk Cousins on the roster?
Yeah, from my point of view, I don't think, and I'll this isn't a premonition. I don't think this is the last time we've seen Kirk Cousins.
No.
I really don't. The way, and again, I'm not trying to speak this into existence, but effectively, what's going to happen? Listen, we all know this, because Michael Penix Jr. is going to be effectively on par to be the offensive player of the year, and something's going to happen. It's the Atlanta way. The teases, the sporting gods teases, and then take it away. Let's hope with Michael Penix Jr. it's the start of something different.
I hope so, man. I really do. Like, as I say, all signs point to that. As Maggie says, we're so excited with the international wing just launching into existence this year. There couldn't be a better season to do it or a better team to do it with. So we appreciate y'all. We appreciate the whole AFN family for being part of this journey. As I say, y'all are always supporting. What up, Mondi? What up? Part of the AFN family again. Always here to support. So we appreciate you. Just as I say, just trying to get through some of these chats. Talk some truth about Kirk, because as I say, you can split it two ways. The maturity level goes one way, but the stats go another. You really can split the season in two halves for me. But as I say, in terms of his leadership ability, in terms of his maturity levels, in terms of his ability to mentor, he's seen the highs, he's seen the lows of being in the league for a long time. So I feel like he's got a part to play in the emergence of Penix as well. And as I say, just they need to be watching each other, because as I say, these 53 men need to come together ultimately. So as we go into training camp in the next sort of week, 10 days, we will touch base on what's happening on the 26th a little later on in the show. And Maggie is in the back. If she wants to jump on, she can explain to you a little bit about what's planned. But there's going to be a little bit of a get together as well after we get done with training camp on the 26th. So come down, get behind your boys, because it's going to be a big year. We're talking AFN, we're talking Falcons franchise. Everyone associated with this journey is bound to have a hell of a year. So, as I say, in terms of the QB outlook for 2025, I agree very much with you, Des. I feel like 3 games is not a huge span of experience for an NFL pace. For the hits that he's going to take, although he's had a few shots, he's thrown a few picks, that's great. He's cut his teeth, so to speak, but he's really not faced the kind of adversity that playing as a starter for a whole season he will face. And so again, I feel like, yeah,
he's effectively a rookie. I mean, the one thing that can happen quite quickly in the media is that they'll build him up just to rip him down again. But the people in Atlanta need to understand that he's played 3 games. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be times where he has bad games, but I'll say, I've said before in other shows, the one thing I would say about Michael Penix Jr. is that the guy has got ice in his veins. There's no up or down with this guy. He's literally always in the middle. And when you look at the way he carries himself and the way he plays, and I mean, I'll go back to his college days. He was never sacked. They never sacked him, because although he's not classed as a mobile quarterback, he can move.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like a lot of people do not. They underrate that because of the style of offense that he played in. It didn't require a huge amount of running. As I say, Washington plays a more pro-style, West Coast pro-style offense. Boss lady in the house. So Mike Penix is familiar with that style of play and that style of pressure, especially playing against teams the likes of that he did over his 4 years. And he still had a consistent span as a starter, so he was able to stay healthy. So I hold out a lot of hopes for him. I really do. But while we have you on, Maggie, thank you so much again. The First Lady has joined us because, speaking of training camp, we have some information for you all. So I will pass it on to the First Lady herself. Let Maggie take over, tell you a little bit about some training camp teasers. What you got for us, Miss Lady?
Okay, and it's going to be quick and brief because I'm still kind of in the back doing some things. Hey, everybody. I'm glad that everybody has joined the show. Hold on, let me tell my child. 1 second, lady. 1 second. So I'm sorry. Mama duties.
No, that's quite all right.
Duties, all of that. So I wanted to mention, everybody has been wondering what the Atlanta Falcons Nation was going to do for July 26th. Yes, we're not doing a major red and black event where it was ticketed, but a lot of people are going to be in town for training camp anyway on that date. So on July 26th, the Atlanta Falcons Nation crew, we will be at training camp that morning, of course. And then after that, looks like we will be, let me take this banner off real quick, just because, so they can see the bottom. And also that comment there. 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see right there, later on that evening, doors open at 6 p.m. I doubt we're going to get there at 6, but I gave it to about 8 o'clock so you can get home, get rested, take your shower, because it's going to be a hot one July 26th, I'm sure. But we will be following up with the Atlanta Falcons Nation LLC Red and Black meet and greet instead at O'Reilly's Food and Spirits off of Covington Highway. This is free to get in until 10 p.m. Eastern. And it's $5 drinks, and then they have food and everything else. So just come join us. I know last time we did the big event, but this year just things didn't pan out that way because I couldn't find the location and it fast enough that was more appropriate for you. Because of course the last venue I was like, no, the AC was having some issues. So I wanted to be a little bit more comfortable for you. So this location has pool tables, you can have a good time, and and it's a special possibility That's why I want you to wear your best red and black gear, because might be some cameras in the building. I'm just saying, just putting the word out there. I'll confirm it sooner or later, but it's a possibility that you might be recorded if you don't mind that. But bring your best, attitude. Let's cheer on. This is our pep rally before the season. We'll be already hyped from seeing them playing in training camp. So come join us at, Flowery Branch if you already got the tickets, and we'll be there, as well as this is a free event to get in before 10. And then, it's beautiful time all the whole time. And if you can't make it, it's okay. In addition to that, I wanted to also include last year and the year before, we did a GoFundMe and educations fund. That educations fund is still there. A lot of people still wanted to donate. Now, donation is not permitted to get you into it. You can get in still for free without donating. But if you want to give back to the Atlanta Falcons Nation's Educators Fund, this is going to be making a difference in the community and make sure those kids have supplies. So we'll be providing gift cards and things to the educators, as well as now we're going to actually open it up for people that maybe not want to do money donations. They want to donate supplies. You can drop it off. I will most likely see if it will be okay to do it at that location. If not, I'll give you guys a drop-off point. What we'll do is probably host another giveaway, or we'll just donate it to one of the schools and things, okay? Or some of the other events that's hosting, get backs and backpacks, events. So I thank you guys for that. There is and it's Atlanta Falcons Nation Cash App. And look on my social media platforms. The link for the GoFundMe is also there. I'm not nowhere near it right now to put the link, but I think Will got it. I think if you could just post that in the chat, if you possibly can later, I'll make sure it's also in the chat when I can get back to my phone.
Yep.
And get it linked.
Yeah, what I'll do, I'll drop it for you. But thank you for taking the time to come on and share that with us.
Thank you.
As I say, from our perspective as well, even internationally, it's teachers aren't paid enough for the services that they provide, for the heart that they show sometimes for these kids. And we are not just tied now to the Atlanta Falcons. We are tied to the city and the community of Atlanta. We have grown to care about you guys as people, and by extension, then your children and how they're getting on in the next sort of generation that's going to inherit our thrones, our seats, to kind of talk about our birds for the years and decades to come. So no, that's a wonderful and extremely worthwhile cause. So if you can, put your hands in your pockets, or even, as I say, get down, get some supplies, help the kids out, give back. As I say, that's what all we are trying to do, is give back to Atlanta, and do something we love at the same time, which, as we were saying in the back, we better hit the camera and start rolling, because if not, we'll sit and talk for 3 hours and nobody will see a thing. Like, this is what we tend to do with things. But yeah, just as I say, to reiterate again, so we are the Scottish Falcons. We'll be heading up Atlanta Falcons Nation International LLC. So if you do get the chance to kind of have a look at some past shows that we've done, we just kind of want to.
When you say we will be, we're literally into the 7th hour, mate. We've done 3 shows in 2 hours, and we've already. I mean, to be honest, that hour has just disappeared.
And this is the thing, they call me Will the Thrill, but the real thrill here is the fact that we get to do this for all of y'all. We get to essentially do like I seen a meme and it was so perfect because it just made me think of you. I was going to tag you. That said, guys will literally just sit in a corner and talk about old sports players and have the best time. And I'm like,
absolutely.
That sounds about right.
I mean, what I would say, see if somebody says to say to a normal guy, listen, I want you to go into a podcast and talk for 2 hours. They would be like, well, what am I going to talk about?
Yeah.
But see us guys, because we don't have this outlet, that we actually have got people around us that we can talk about. I mean, just to give you an idea, that my business, I've got I do certain things, but I've got a mechanic that came in tonight to my business and he was like, "Oh, I was in the garage. I was in my garage, and there was guys talking about Atlanta. I'm sure they were talking about Atlanta Falcons. That's who you support. It's Atlanta Falcons." And I was like, "Yeah, that's right." And he went, "I was like, they're probably talking about a quarterback season 2. Aye, I'm sure they talked about that." And I was like, "Did they mention Kirk Cousins?" Oh, I didn't hear any names. That just went over my head. So that's effectively a conversation that you have with somebody in Scotland when it comes to NFL. It's literally, I don't know your team. I mean, he says to me, he says, I mean, was it Dallas? Was Dallas mentioned? I went, maybe the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, they were maybe mentioning the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I think I heard Dallas, but I heard your team as well. And I was like, all right, that's great. So that's effectively a conversation you have. That's it. This is all we get. And
and you know what? That would be my point to be concerned as well. Because if we're being mentioned in the same conversation as Dallas, I'm like, wait, stop right there. Why are we being mentioned in the same conversation as Dallas? We're delusional. We're not that delusional.
Listen, Dak says they're going to win the Super Bowl, mate. Who am I to question it?
Oh, aye. If Dax and my mum say it's going to be the case, then it must be. But he needs to stay healthy before that can happen. And the guy's made a porcelain, like legit. Like, oh nah. In all fairness, like it's a good team on paper, Dallas, but just perennial underachievers because I feel like they've gotten used to. In a way, we do have that in common. A culture of mediocrity. We're content enough just to win the division, but it's come to a point where we're not even doing that on a consistent basis. So, as I say, you know where my fault lies there. But yeah, so what we're going to do, as I say, coming into the second hour, so plenty to still talk about before training camp.
We've not even talked about the quarterback, the full quarterback season. So there's still plenty to talk about.
As I say, I'll drop the Q&A there. So if anyone wants to ask anything about the show or how we feel or roster, depth chart, training camp, anything like that, just drop it down in the chat. We'll keep ranting. We don't need any impetus to do that. But yeah, just going back to the second half of the season, I've got a few kind of things here. Just saying that it says a lot to me personally that he handled the situation when Penix was given the job really quite professionally. Really, he showed his maturity levels again by calling Mike up and going, "Listen, just you're the guy now. Like I've got my part to play. Don't get me wrong, I'll be there for you. But it takes a big guy to go, I've lost my job, but it's business." Like we were not benching you because we wanted to. We all wanted to see, as you say, we wanted to see him throw for 5,000 yards, 48 tuddies in a Super Bowl ring. But if that's not the case, then we need to start looking at business decisions, the amount we are paying you, cost and effect, and it's not worth it.
I mean, the backroom staff, the coaches have to be questioned on this. They really do, because as soon as Michael Penix was brought up as the starting quarterback, everybody was talking about how on fire he was in practice and how over the certain amount of time they've been seeing this, the amazing things that he's been doing. Well, Kirk Cousins went through statistically the worst 5 games of any quarterback in NFL history. So how bad was Michael Penix Jr. in the 5 weeks? Because if the coaches are coming out and saying that he's been on fire in practice, well, if he's been on fire in practice, why are they still putting up with really, really bad play from Kirk Cousins? In the quarterback season, you hear a lot of the snippets from the media, and they're talking about how he's not healthy. Will he be benched? And that literally started right after the Aints game. We then play the Raiders and not the Chargers, and he has 4 interceptions.
Oh, that was not good. That's where it all fell away for me. That stretch
again,
between LA and Denver.
And again, the media are questioning Raheem Morris in the pressers, and his words were, "We're sticking with Kirk Cousins." So from my point of view, I look at that kind of decision. That's telling somebody who's a player in the Atlanta Falcons that they can be average and still keep their position. Because
that's not what we need.
If the number one position in a team is playing really, really bad and he's still keeping his position, then what does that tell the other players? You can do the same, you'll be fine. So
but here's what I'm telling you as well. Like when we brought in Jeff Ulbrich, I made the point, and the draft class says that the way that Walker and JPJ have been taking some of the warm-up snaps will tell you as well. The culture's changing. For too long, we have been content to not chase, to not drive, to just sort of exist in perpetuity. And I've got a little bit of information and real facts for you. And it goes a little something like this. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. So by changing the scheme, by freshening up this front seven, by freshening up that secondary, that pass rush, under a coaching staff who Ulbrich's a linebacker guy, Raheem Morris is a DB guy. So as I say, they got the guys they wanted to fit the culture that they're trying to build this new look defense to match this high power offense that we have. So with all that being said, Ricky, we're going to go into this a little bit more in depth tomorrow because we're going to look at the schedule breakdown game by game. And we're both going to give you our final predictions. So I don't want to kind of spoil it too much, but I'm going to.
I'm going to. It's 17-0. That's it. Super Bowl win, 17-0.
I'll cast it into the ether, brother. Cast it into the ether. 20-0.
There's no question. No question. That's it.
Oh, I would love it. If we're going to slip up, though, let's take it in the regular season because I'll take 19-1 if we can get a ring. Well, let that be stated for posterity as well.
Listen, see if somebody came to me, Will, and said, "Listen, what part of your body are you cutting off for Atlanta Falcons to win the Super Bowl?" I'd be looking around, going, "Right, okay, what can I do without?" I literally would cut my right arm off to watch the Falcons win a Super Bowl. I mean that's. I mean,
that's the thing, as I say. Like, I would quite happily give a finger. I know I'm a guitar player, but it worked for Django Reinhardt and Tony Iommi. There are ways you can figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So, I'd give a finger for a Super Bowl.
Well, if it's anything to do with the Aints, mate, it's going to be the middle finger. You know what I mean? So.
Well, you can take two then.
But yeah, I think from my point of view, it's it goes back to a thought where you hear, I don't know what coach it was, but one of the coaches come out once before and said that when a players get hope, they try a wee bit harder. From my point of view, and again, I hate the man, but the GOAT man, if you'd have took the GOAT man and put him into the worst team in the NFL and put him in as a quarterback, I guarantee that team would play better simply down to the fact that they had that man as a quarterback. He gave them hope. And again, no disrespect to Kirk Cousins. He's a good team leader. He's a good quarterback. But you don't watch the way he plays and think, yeah, this man can win us a Super Bowl. When you watch and see the way Michael Penix Jr. played in the couple of games, you can look at that and go, if this guy can really put this together the way Jaden Daniels put it together last year, then we could be looking at a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I'm telling you that now. I never even said that about Matt Ryan. That Matt Ryan was a potential quarterback winning Super Bowl winning quarterback. Matt Ryan was a great player. Great player. I'm hoping that Michael Penix Jr. is an elite player. And
I hope
everything
so.
you see tells me that he is.
Well, that's where you and I differ. I did give 2016 Matt Ryan that shine. I'm not going to lie. The way he commanded that offense in 2016, I was like, no, okay, this is a guy that wants a ring. He played with a level of tenacity and balls in 2016 that it was lacking in other spells of his career. But 2012, 2013, 2016, it was starting to, it kind of surfaced a little bit towards this 2019, just before the arm sort of, or the back of the, I think that was maybe an ACL he went off for, missed 2 games, came back, was never quite. But yeah, it was just, a time had come. But I feel like he was right on that cusp of elite. I feel like he's Hall of Fame caliber. 381 touchdowns should be more than enough.
First ballot Hall of Fame. First ballot.
Yeah.
He was a MVP the 2016 season. I mean, MVP. You tell me any MVP player historically that wouldn't get into the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
You'd be hard pushed.
Listen, and again, I'm going to bring this up, right? And I'll say it now. See if Matt Ryan had a top level defense in any of the time that he played in Atlanta, he would have won a Super Bowl. I think the best he got in 2012 was top 15 defense. That is it. That is it. I mean, you look,
and that's important because shout out to Mad Mike as well, as you say.
Yeah, 24.
And shout out to Mad. Sorry.
You know, I mean, effectively, we must be the only team, and we must be the only fans that want average for one part of our team. We just want average defense. Give us a top 20 defense.
Yep.
That's
and this is the thing that isn't stated enough when you talk about GOAT Man. Shout out to Mad Mike because he's made this point on his show many times. But you look at the common denominator. That guy won 7 Super Bowl rings. But of his 21 years in the league, 17 of those he had a defense ranked within the top 10. Defense wins championships, folks.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter how elite your QB is, and I think Tom Brady would tell you the same.
Absolutely. So another
and as I say,
from Southside Ricky. So next year, MPJ, Drake, Bijan, Lindstrom, Jesse Bates, Bergeron, AJ Terrell will all be in the top 100 list, and the Falcons will finally get some respect. And again, I agree.
I would hope so. Like I can see it. But don't be surprised if at least 1 or 2 of those names is disrespected.
Listen, I'm telling you,
we've been Falcons fans long enough to know.
I'm putting this out there now. See, Bijan. I mean, again, I heard there was a comment recently about how one of the backroom coaches or something didn't even have Bijan in his top 10 running backs.
Madness.
I'm telling you that now. See if Bijan isn't in the top 30 players, in the top 100 players. I'm coming to Atlanta. I'm rioting. I'm literally doorstepping the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and I'm rioting because this is. I've seen average teams who do well, who are still average teams, get a lot more. Effectively applause and credit than Atlanta Falcons. I mean, we've effectively got what I hope is a top 5 offense. You know what I mean? We won last season, and that was Zach Robinson learning his job. It was the first time he'd ever called plays. So you imagine, and again, I'll say again, second year with Shanahan was the year we went to the Super Bowl. Let's hope that Zach Robinson's the same.
I hope so. And as you say, with Bijan as well, Des, the thing with Bijan is he's so dynamic, and the 1-2 punch at Tyler is so unpredictable and so hard to stop. Because when you think you lock down one, then you get the other one. You get the thunder with the lightning, so to speak. So my point to people who put so much, like, I get how important the quarterback position is. I get how important the transition within the quarterback position is. But what I'm trying to say to kind of calm a few of these sort of worry warts out is Michael Penix Jr. doesn't have to come out here right from the off and be elite. He has to come out here, be efficient, and protect the ball. If he can do that, we have the players around him where we're still going to win games, even if he should not be performing to 100% to where we'd expect him to be. We have a defense who can step up and protect him, that can get after that quarterback's ass, that can cause some pressure, some fumbles, some turnovers. So we're going to get the ball back in some dangerous positions. And as we've said when we were doing the roster breakdown, we're stacked in terms of what we can do personnel-wise, especially in the red zone. That 20-yard stretch. What we are capable of doing with some of the big body receivers that we have, especially because you look at Drake, specifically with a more slot archetype. So he's going to catch the ball and he's going to move. He's a possession receiver, but he's much bigger than a possession receiver ought to be. So it gives you a lot of different options and things. And then as Mondi asks, do you all think Xavier Watt's going to get a lot of playing time this year? I think if you don't use the nickname Billy Bowman, because I think that those two rooks are going to be kind of mixing it up between sort of that hybrid sort of scheme, as I say, that nickel sort of role. What do you think, Des? How do you feel about Xavier Watts?
Well, again, I'm going back to history. And again, you look at what Raheem Morris done in his last year with the Rams. He literally had no-name young players who turned into, I mean, they weren't a top 10 defense, but the defense was good enough that they got to the playoffs. The one thing I would say about Raheem Morris is he's good at building up the young players. And yeah, I think he's going to get playing time. The way that the way you look at it, last year's draft was like effectively kicking it down the road, kicking the can down the road. It was a case of we're drafting these guys for next year.
100%.
Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris don't have that time. They need players to walk in now and make a difference. And I believe that, again, Billy Bowman and Xavier Watts, I think they'll make a difference. And I think he will get playing time. But you never know. Again, we've drafted players and sat them out for the first couple of games. But, I mean, the way I look at it is they're going to rush the quarterback and they're going to have ball hawks in the secondary. You've got Jesse Bates, you've got Billy Bowman, you've got Xavier Watts, Kobe Bryant. Again, effectively, they three, the last three I mentioned, were 1, 2, and 3 in college football and interceptions. So effectively, from my point of view, they've picked phenomenal players and they need to use them. And Raheem's got a history where he does this, and let's hope it's the same this year.
Yeah, but also you take those three guys, your 1, 2, 3 punch, combine them with the fact that Jesse Bates can intercept the ball. It's not the main ingredient, if you will, to his game, but you put the best safety of the league. Even if you're not gonna give us that, we'll say top 3 just to be diplomatic. But an incredible safety talent and more history for last season. 4 forced fumbles and 4 interceptions. Only player in the league to do that. So he's going to teach these guys that are more natural ball hawks. No, you're going to get the ball. You're going to get your picks and all the rest of it, but not every play is going to be 70 yards, pick 6 to the house. No. first off, we need to shore up and make sure that nothing gets past us. So if you need to come down in the box and light someone up, and that's why I love the fact that Jesse Bates is going to be heading up this, because he's shown the last 2 years that he is the guy. Yeah. Best safety in the league, a captain and a consummate presence. And it's like, no, okay, now here's your DB room. Let's every one of these boys knows how to run, knows how to pick it off and run it back. Let's see what you can do with these guys. You know what I mean?
But again, I need to give applause to Terry Fontenot. We got Jesse Bates right at the time when the safety position was really, really undervalued.
Yes.
I remember when the contract came out for Jesse Bates, it was like 4 years, 52 million or something like that.
Something like that, 52, 56. It was somewhere around there. Right?
And I kind of thought, that's all we've paid for Jesse Bates? If you now look at it, the safety position is Jesse Bates is effectively becoming a ball hawk in the NFL, and quarterbacks are openly not thrown to wherever he is in the stadium on the playing pitch. Effectively, the safety position has started getting more valuable, and again, it was the same with Bijan. When we took Bijan, again, this is what pisses me off, right? You get Bijan Robinson gets picked number 8, right? And there's like, oh my God, I remember Rich Eisen. Are they going to do it? Yeah, oh my God, they've dinged him. Oh, the Atlanta Falcons have signed a running back in the top 10 of the draft. Then you've got the guy this year that went, was it number 5?
Ashton Janney.
Yeah.
To the Raiders.
And then where did they go? Where did they go to, Will?
Vegas.
Right. So they were getting applause. Oh, great. That's a great team for him to go to. Right. So the Atlanta Falcons, we've signed probably a guy that could be the best running back that the NFL's ever seen, and his derision. Oh my God, you've signed a running back. Nobody signs a running back in the top 10, right? Then this year it happens.
It depends what you want, man. So sometimes there's a very dynamic player. People say you don't pick up a wide receiver in the top 10 either. We've done that with Julio. Give me a piece. I feel like
Drake was 8.
Yeah, certain players justify that. And as Southside Ricky says, Matt and Julio are both Hall of Famers. Like, you know those guys. Some guys are different. Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones. When you're talking about running backs, yeah, as he says, Bijan Robinson, Ashton Janney. Some players are just different like that, and they need to be judged accordingly. Like, yeah, you can't use a top 10 pick on a running back unless
you're not. And if you've watched these,
unless you've watched this guy for 4 years at Texas, as I have, and know that he's going to set the gridiron alight.
Yeah,
because a lot of you guys are Georgia fans, so maybe didn't have the experience with Bijan that I did. But I'm a Texas Longhorns fan, so I've seen this kid run for a long, long time.
I watched the games, and you could see, again, you watch college football, and it's tough for me because I'm effectively looking at mock drafts to work out who the best players were. I didn't need that. I didn't need that with Bijan Robinson. As soon as Bijan Robinson got that ball, you just knew this guy was special, absolutely special. And again, he was my pick when the draft came around. He was my pick. From my point of view, if you look at the Hall of Fame, it's got a player's name next to it. You don't have. That's the wide receiver Hall of Fame. That's the running back Hall of Fame. You've got Hall of Fame players. That's it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what position they were drafted. Nobody cares what they've done in college football. All they are interested in what they done as soon as they get drafted. What they done.
Yes, sir. And case in point, Tyler Algier, a walk-on in college, a fifth round draft pick. Look at him now.
the most.
And look at him now.
Well, that man is the most undervalued player in the NFL. The most undervalued, and
100%.
What scares me is this might be the last season that we've got this guy.
I know, and tell me he doesn't start on 18, 20 teams, maybe more.
And do you know
But
the funniest
I agree as well with Caden Ellis. There's guys that are flying under the radar too much. I think Caden, he should have maybe been in that conversation in the 90s where we're talking about Jesse and Drake. I could see Caden really pushing for that top 100. I feel like there's holes in his game, but for what he brings to the table and his drive and commitment level, I feel like he's consistently 100 tackle a year guy. I feel like he's going to get after it. Top 100, I feel like is not a fair judgment of what a player's ability is either. I feel like it's a popularity contest at this point. You can agree or disagree with that, but I think Des, you're on my wavelength here with this.
See, to be honest, again, I don't care. I don't care what other fans or what the media says about my players. All I care is what they do on the park. So that's all I'm interested in. I'm not watching Bijan Robinson and think to myself, oh my God, that was a great touchdown, Bijan. I can't wait to see where you are in the top 100 players next year. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's effectively it's the same as the Pro Bowl as the Pro Bowl as well.
Yeah,
we're looking
just a farce now.
Now, Bijan was at the Pro Bowl, but only as a second choice.
Yeah.
The guy that was at the Pro Bowl, I think, ended up going to the either Super Bowl or whatever. And again, you're looking at Bijan Robinson, you're saying you're not at the Pro Bowl. The guy literally breaks ankles.
Yep, 100%. Ask any linebacker that's tried to bring him down why he doesn't belong in the Pro Bowl. And just as I say, there's no regrets whatsoever because some guys are just built different. Any team in the league will tell you that. You get these physical specimens. Kyle Pitts is one too on a physical standpoint. As I say, 6'6", 248, 448 speed. But where he lacks is body awareness. Because at that size, he should be able to box off a man who is 5'10", 200 pounds. He should have the size and the presence to be able to play that ball in the air. And for me, he's not quite doing that. But a lot of that as well has not been finding rhythm, not been finding that consistency. But yeah, as I say, I feel like we MPJ can. And they've been putting in the work to do so.
I think somebody needs to get the nasty in Kyle Pitts. Somebody needs to tell him and just say, look in the mirror and look at the size of you. What is he? 6'4", 6'3", 6'4".
6'6",
6'6",
248.
And
he's a big boy.
His wingspan is it's crazy.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Effectively, I've said before in other shows, it comes to a point where it's not about what the defense does. It's about what the offense, Atlanta offense does. We don't care what you're going to do to us because, again, 2016 Atlanta Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it was literally, listen, our defense isn't going to stop you. It's not very good, but you know what? We're going to score 40 points. So see if you can score 40 points and beat us. And that was effectively Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons had a bit of an edge. Again, it was all about. It was as if they had built up all that negativity and just rammed it down everybody's throat and said, you know what, we're sick of this.
100%.
You don't give us any exposure. You talk us down. I mean, you go to the start of the 2016 season and see who was saying was going to win the Super Bowl. Nobody mentioned Atlanta Falcons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Just one more thing though that is worrying me just about this season. We're getting it all on the table because there's been some really good, really great, and really interesting questions that's kind of got our minds spinning a little bit, got us kind of going here or there with it, looking at a couple of different things. But just a point here by Tabro that I want to touch base on. He says he loves them and he'd hate to see Tyler go. We can't pay everyone. And I guarantee you, look at the contract that CD Lamb is negotiated for himself. You think Drake London's going to want less than CD Lamb? No, that means you're talking about $38 million a year. We are going to get 27 million back, assuming we move on from Kirk next year. But there's a lot of names coming up. Caleb McGarry's not got too long left. Tyler Algier's not got too long left. Caden Ellis has not got too long left.
Jesse Bates is.
I worry about money.
I mean, I don't think it's anything to do with how much Atlanta wants Tyler Algier to stay. I think.
Oh no, I don't think that's a factor. Yeah,
it's the case that if Tyler Algier's agent is doing his job right, I guarantee there's going to be a team out there that's going to, as I call it, the Spondoolies, that are going to bring the Spondoolies for Tyler Algier. And and it's going to get to a point that there's not that amount of, just the same as Drew Dolman. Atlanta Falcons wanted to keep him, but the contract he got from Chicago was just too big.
Same with Grady Jarrett. We offered him a team-friendly deal. It was his choice to then go and look elsewhere. If Grady wanted to be here, he would have been here. And that's why, as much as I will forever respect what Grady Jarrett was to the team and to the city of Atlanta, the choice to move was his. Ultimately, we put an offer on the table and he declined.
Listen, I love Grady Jarrett, and you know what? When he retires, I'll love him as much. But at this moment, he's in Chicago. He's the enemy.
He's pulling on one of the 31 other jerseys. Yeah, at least when we walk into Chicago,
he's walked out the door, and that's it to me. It's all about the people in the room, the people that want to be here in Atlanta Falcons. You know what I mean? And as the coaches all say, I'll talk about the people in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be honest, you love the guy, and I do. I love the guy. It was phenomenal, but he's no longer here. We talk about the people here.
And so it is too with AFN. Like, we can only talk about the people that are here for us. So that's why we drop the links. That's why we drop the Facebook posts, the X posts. It's why we give you the little bits of Scottish culture, because we are trying to make it an acceptable sort of just come and have your say, no matter what walk of life you are. As I say, AFN, the picture will show you. I'll pull it up just one more time for posterity. Maggie and the ladies will tell you, the regulators will tell you, you've always got Des and I plugging away, but we cannot thank you enough, because we have truly this season been trying to just kind of give back, not just to the educators, not just to, but to the city of Atlanta. So just as I say, if you're going to a training camp on the 26th, be sure to get out for the meet and greet. Meet the ladies as well, because they've been doing a lot of work this off season and will continue to do. Because as they've said, the promise is a lit one this off season, and it's going to be an amazing season. So your boys are going to hold it down in the meantime as well, while the guys in the A are down there. So if you can make it out, if you can support in any way you can, we'd love that you do that. But just if there is anything you guys want to discuss, just keep it coming. In the comments, we'll keep this going to about 2 hours or so. As I say, we're just happy to be here and talk birds. So
what I would say is,
what
I would say is the meetup. Make it look as if it's a trial for the Super Bowl party. So when we finally get to the Super Bowl at the end of the season, we've got the venue. You know what I mean? Everybody's all ready. Everybody knows each other. You know what I mean? We'll maybe even be there if we get to the Super Bowl.
I hope so, man. And this is the thing, as I say, as it is in business, so it is in life. Dress for the job you want, not for the job you've got. Ride deep and ride well. Get yourself suited, booted, well dressed. Look out your chains and let's do this. Let's
again,
right deep year 60, Falcons Nation. Come on.
Yeah, what I would say is that the fact that there's people that can, the fact that guys are watching this, that can, guys and gals that are actually, they can actually walk or jump on a train, jump in their car, go to a venue where there's a whole load of Falcons all meeting together. We would literally cut our arm off just to have just a meet up, 10 people in the local pub. Nothing to do with the football, nothing to do with anything else. Just people there who are Atlanta Falcons fans and who want to talk about the Atlanta Falcons. The whole point of us being on this, and believe me, I get more from this than any of you guys get, because I can come on, I can rant about my rants, because I like getting my rants out. And I get to talk to Will and Maggie and Mad Mike and everybody else that's appeared on the show about my passion, which is the Atlanta Falcons. And it's
a safe space too. So as Maggie says, to kind of tie it back to base again with the candid room, it's all about supporting each other and just kind of knowing how well received it's been as well. Because I mean, we're only on episode 4 and we've been doing some solid numbers. So clearly, you guys over in the A are really receiving it well. And I mean, I was talking to Des and Maggie about it in the back, and I made a little joke that we should trademark the word Glaslanta, because that would be half Glasgow and half Atlanta, because that is how I feel. So if you guys want that in a t-shirt, that's something we can maybe look at Pipeline. So drop me some red and black, because some things may well be in motion this season that cannot be undone, as Gandalf would say. So we did promise you that once we arrived, you would not get rid of us. Once we nest for good, and we know where our home is. We know where we're well received, and we know that Atlanta accepts us the way we accept you guys, and together we just want to build something more. So what up, Ricky? It was good. Thank you for joining us. Just sort of wrapping up in the next sort of 20 minutes or so, but you've reached us at a good time, because if there's anything you want to ask, now's the time. We've got kind of an open forum for that, guys.
Let's jump back to the Southside Ricky's question about as of now, do we think the Falcons have a top 5 offense? I mean, Ricky, grab a bit of paper and a notepad and note down. I would say 5 other offenses that are better than what we've got. And I'll wait. I mean, you look at Drake London, Darnell Mooney, probably the top 3 best duos in the wide receiver core. Tell me, again, you've got Bijan Robinson, you've got Ray McLeod, you've got Darnell Mooney, you've got Tyler Algier, you know, I mean, you've got Kyle Pitts. And again, I know Kyle Pitts has not turned it on in the last year or so, but you tell me any other offense that's got weapons like that. And then you add in Michael Penix Jr., who hopefully is going to be a top 5, even top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
As I say, I'll happily wait here when everybody goes and notes down 5 teams that have got a better offense than us.
And here's the rub as well. Even the teams that can go note for note ways in terms of talent, and those are few. Philadelphia, Detroit, maybe. You can look at those teams and go, yeah, you've got a real nice squad offensively. Guys like David Montgomery in Detroit, real nice piece to have. Some of the guys they've got in Philly too. But even the teams that can go, yeah, we can go name for name with you. It's like, yeah, okay, but you ain't got our depth. If those studs start to go down for you, you have not got the bodies to keep that up, that grind up for 4 quarters. I feel like we do. As I say, and I feel like that's the difference. So, I mean, you're asking if we're a top 5 offense. I think we've got a top 3 floor. We're either 1 or 2 for me.
I mean, I think there's some defensive players that, again, you talk about the running back, and again, I'll highlight Tyler Algier again. there must be defensive players that watch Bijan Robinson just swan around them, and then say to themselves, "God, I wish he wasn't on the field." And then they look up and they see Tyler Algier and think to themselves, "Bloody hell, I'm going to have to take that man." And again, he just, as you say, it's thunder and lightning, but I call him a sledgehammer. He's just an absolute sledgehammer. It's Bijan Robinson does the Swan Lake. He's ballying round all these players.
Yeah.
Tyler
That's what I love. He'll come out to finesse you. We've got some skillful and some pretty players in terms of play style, in terms of skill set, in terms of speed, in terms of physicality. So, I mean, just when we think we can't finesse you, it's like, all right, okay, this is a power run team. Maybe they're not liking all the fancy shit. Okay, then we're going to punch you in the mouth because we've still got Tyler Algier standing right there in second string, ready to go.
I go back to, I remember a couple of years ago, Vinnie Jones, the used to be the soccer player, and now he's an actor. He was Juggernaut, and one of and effectively that's Tyler Algier to me. Tyler Algier sees a wall and thinks, right, okay, let's go for it, and it's just bang. Yeah. It's blunt force trauma. That's
just answer me one thing: how thick is the wall, so I know how fast I need to get to go through it. It's insane.
And then while they're dazed and confused, and you've got double vision, and then all of a sudden Bijan Robinson comes on and literally just disappears past you like a ghost.
And then you're seeing quadruple, and then it's just like, nah, there's something not right here.
And then you look at Drake London. Again, if anybody's unsure about how good Drake London is, go back and look at his college basketball games. I mean, that man is effectively a basketball player that's decided to play NFL, and you can see it. You can see.
And I've said this a few times, like from the tight end perspective, more than receiver, but you've seen that shift as well. It started with guys like Tony Gonzalez, but we've seen the likes of Jimmy Graham, Rob Gronkowski, even Antonio Gates a little bit. He was a great basketball player as well. That sort of box you out. I will use my size, I will use my physicality, and I feel like that's what Pitts is lacking. He has basketball size and basketball athletic speed and things like that, but he needs to take a page from basketball's book. So maybe he needs to watch some Atlanta Hawks, because they'll teach him how to use that body and control and box people out. He should be more than big enough. And as I say, as you say, you should have the self-awareness to go, nah, I'm a big boy, I can do something here. But yeah, he needs to have that kind of confidence to go, nah, I'm that guy. And as Maggie says, just keep smashing the like button, keep dropping the red and blacks in the chat, keep us hard at grind. So if you've got any extra topics, any wee tidbits of information, any breaking news you want us to cover, next week we're going to have a look into the big interview between Vic and Penix. So that's going to be our last opportunity to sort of touch on the quarterback mentor situation and progression before we roll into training camp. So we want to give that a look for you as well, now that we've got quarterback out the way. And apart from that, just grinding, getting ready for training camp, ready to hold things down for the guys while they're over there. So if you do get the chance to go out, as I say, all the information's on. Just rewind back if you need to see it. I've dropped the information just scrolling along the bottom there for Flowery Branch, July 26th after the training camp. So yeah, as I say, just continue to support. AFN International going to continue to grow. Scottish Falcons, 3 episodes a week, as I say, so tune in tomorrow. We're going to dissect a little bit more detail the schedule. You're going to get Des and I's definitive picks on sort of where's our floor, where's our ceiling, and then we'll boil that down and we'll give you our gun-to-head picks of what we think the Falcons' record will be in 2025. So before we start wrapping up, just let you take the mic, Des, give your shout outs, your thank yous, and
listen,
let everyone know that.
Shout out to Southside Ricky. I mean, he must be a super fan. I mean, we need to come up with super fans, because that man's a super fan. You know
Hell
what I
yeah,
mean?
Ricky, man. If you want to come on, we'd love to have you on for a chat, man. You're chatting away, keeping us going all session. So come on. Let's have a wee proper chat sometime. You'd be more than welcome. As I say, it's AFN International. It's hosted by the Scottish Falcons, but this is far bigger than us. We're giving back to the community. So you want to jump on? As I say, Saturday we're going to throw open the floodgates again, and y'all can come in and have some fun. But yeah,
what I would like to say, Will, as well, is the best thing about this podcast is this really is the podcast that effectively is the conduit between Atlanta and at the moment Scotland. I know there's some great football podcasts in Scotland, but they don't have the Atlanta connection. So effectively, it tends to be a lot of some people in Scotland that will watch that, and we are effectively connecting Atlanta with Glasgow in Scotland and internationally as well. But I would say,
and that's why I thought the tagline was so beautiful as well. Was like when Maggie and I were first putting together the idea, and she suggested it to me. It came to me like a bolt from the blue, from Atlanta to the world, and that's what we're trying to hold true to. So, as I say, for the Somos guys, if you're listening, Alexandros, if you're listening over in Germany, expect a message. For we're compadres and compadrettes, as one would say, all over the world. To the ladies and gentlemen in the military over overseas who may be able to tune in and listen. If we can make your days or your nights, I know some of the chat's been saying that we are a help to people who are maybe struggling. If you feel alone and you just want to talk some birds or anything, we don't mind getting into a bit of life sometimes either. As I say, we are the den for you to just chill, come talk a little birds, talk a little Scottish culture, share your own, some of your stories, your memories, all that good stuff. But until then, as you say, tomorrow we're going to have another big show, breaking down the schedule and things like that. So before we, as I say,
I just want to put out some rules. So if you're going to come on the show, the first rule is that you need to love Atlanta Falcons, but the second rule is you need to hate the Aints. You know what I mean? If you support Tampa Bay Buccaneers but you hate the Aints, then that's fine. You can come on. We'll give you a pass.
That's fine. We'll give you a special compensation if you leave your gold and black and burn it at the door.
Yes. Absolutely. That fleur de lis doesn't go anywhere near Glasgow, that's for sure. You know what I mean?
Keep that fleur de lis away from me. But yeah, just as I say, here in week one without the Bucks having Tristan Wirfs, how does this play for Pierce, Floyd and Ebiketie? Baker Mayfield, it's a good thing he can throw in the run because he's going to need to.
I mean,
that's all I can say to that.
Well, did I not see a statistic that said that Baker Mayfield held the ball? He was probably one of the slowest quarterbacks, as in he held the ball too long kind of thing. So
I would encourage him not to continue in that trend. I'll put it that way. I would strongly advise it would not be in your best interest to hold on to that ball too long.
What I would say is who's going to sack him? Because you've got how are they going to work Caden Ellis? You know what I mean? You've got Jalen Walker. Are they going to use him as an edge? Are they going to use? And again, from my point of view, Jeff Ulbrich and Raheem Morris have come out and said that they're going to use him specifically as an edge. Is this a double bluff?
We've got Floyd, we've got Ebiketie off the edge too. So who knows, man? We're going to see inside-outside rotation, but we're going to keep them guessing. And we know Tristan Wirfs, no solid protector up front. I think we can beat them week one, and I think that's going to be a big reason why. I think we are going to keep Baker on his toes all night, and it's going to lead to mistakes. It's going to give these ball hawks a time to shine too, so don't sleep on these guys, because I think we're going to take a couple of turnovers as well. as I say, Darren shouting out, always showing love. Thank you, brother. Just getting ready to wrap up as well. So, what I would say, you can get at Des, as I say, he's only on X at the moment, but he's on at Scottish Falcon. Just made the new logo for that as well for him. So all shiny and new, representing the brand, which we're happy to do. And as I say, just for myself, I'm on X, Twitter, all those, whatever you want to call it, before the Dark Lord Elon took control. I'm also on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. So it'll either be at Will Waddle, WADL, or it'll be at Will the Thrill Waddle, WAD -L, as you see in the logo. So just to say, we are the Scottish Falcons. So if you do want to come on for the rest of the week, join the lads. We've got a lot of things to say. But until then, just special mentions, as I say, we can't thank you enough from the bottom of our hearts. 4 episodes deep, 8 hours deep of talk, and we have not even begun to break the ice. And as I say, big week coming. Whet your appetites for training camp, for the AFN night out, all those good things. We'll be there in spirit and not just in the whiskey. So have an extra one for your boys, eh? Until then, as we know, as we always say, and as we will continue to drive home, pain is international, but then so is passion. Thanks again, Des. Much love, brother.
Thanks, Will.
Much love, family. Thanks. Signing out.
See you soon, guys.
Bye-bye.